Here are the much talked about tailing ponds, although you won't see them on any postcard. Presently, work is in progress to convert these areas into flooded wetlands, capable of sustaining local wildlife for generations to come. However, all of this depends on the integrity of the dams and their ability to withstand what we sometimes refer to as an act of God.
Engineers can design things that are on paper perfect, but in my opinion, 3 Mile Island, there's all kinds of things that engineers have designed that were perfect in design, but yet nature, or should we say maybe God, made a mistake. He didn't act according to expected behavior, and some unexpected environmental weather, something happens, and engineers never make mistakes, but God does. That's my concern.
My concern with the water cover is I would love to see proof that they can build a dam that'll last 80,000 years. There's no way they can do it. It can't be done. We're in an earthquake zone. There's earthquakes here. It's not going to happen. Pyramids aren't that old.
Do you have any concerns apart from the stability of the dams structures?
Well, that's all that matters. If they can't keep them underwater, they haven't. What good are they?
Okay.
There hasn't been a dam established or built that doesn't leak, as one. And the fact that they said they want to walk away from 10 years leaves us a great deal of concern. Who's going to monitor these dams? Who's going to treat the water after? Are they passing liabilities off to us, the taxpayers?
There's no particular amount of money set aside for the long term, although Rio Algom is a financially stable company, and the amount of money we're talking about is not large at all. Let's say a few $1,000,000 put in a trust, if it had to be done that way, would cover the maintenance. Just the interest from it would cover the maintenance forever. So this is not a big financial problem.
There's not been a model established that they can make reference to on these dams.
According to a study that I just recently read, there's 195 dams still in operation today, which were built approximately 1,800 years ago. And at that time, the state of engineering and construction of dams was a lot less than it is today.
They say the dams are the best technology can supply in today's date. Well, I disagree. Because you have dams that are constructed out of cement, not barren or rock or earth. So technology tells me that there's a better dam option than what they've built.
Concrete is a brittle structure. It can crack with any earth movement. It can crack from shrinkage. Whereas earth dams are, earth embankment dams as they're called, are particularly sturdy. They self-heal. They're solid. Especially for these low structures, they're really the best kind of dam. They're better than a concrete dam, I would suggest.
Tailings dam technology has progressed a lot since the bad old days of the 1950s. How do you feel about the mine's reassurances that the flooded wetlands basically pose no threat to future generations?
Well, I feel the way I did after the dam broke at Stanrock. I don't recall the year that was, but I was an employee at Stanrock at the time, and the dam went out, and the effects of that dam going out were just tremendous. I mean, it washed the road out. We had to go across Quirk Lake in order to go into work. I worked in a section of on the surface that required us to provide power. I'm a stationary engineer. So a skeleton crew was required to be there. So we had to go into work, and we had to go in by boat across Quirk Lake. But when we finally seen what had happened, it looked as though something that was in your mind that might happen if an atomic bomb was dropped on a piece of property. There was a huge crater left where all the tailings had gone out, and when we had seen it before, we had passed by these tailings dams each day on our way to and from work. And so we seen it as I suppose the public would see the controlled tailings that are being promoted now. All it was water over top of this, and when you looked at it, it looked such a benign creature until it went out, and the dam broke, and then we seen the devastation, and then we suffered it down here as a result of that. Well, they said before that dam went out that it was the best thing that money could buy. That the experts had all put their heads together, and this thing was going to last 1,000 years and more, and it didn't. That engineering has come a long way since that time. But when I look at the tailings, just one particular tailings, I look at the Quirk mine tailings, Quirk 1, and look at that tailings that's 2 miles wide and 1.25 miles or something, 1.5 miles wide by 2 miles long, and 70 feet, 80 feet deep of tailings in it. And I think of that, and when I look at the tailing dam that is containing that, and I say, for thousands and thousands of years, that stuff is going to be a potential threat to people. And for thousands and thousands of years, there's going to be a possibility that there's going to be some kind of a disaster. And that great engineered dam is going to fail. And it's going to happen.
How does it make you feel?
It makes you feel angry. It makes you feel afraid. Afraid not afraid for yourself or even for your children, but afraid for your children's 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 children. I mean, the people in the future are going to be left with the legacy of this, something that they had nothing to do with. And at some point, a disaster is going to happen over which they had no control.
There is uncertainty in our minds that the preferred option by Rio Algom to cover the tailings with water is a proven option. We have a lot of doubts. Our specialists have a lot of doubts. As I mentioned to you before, there's no reason why we should not permit Rio Algom to construct internal dikes. They are aware that given the panel's recommendations, given final decisions over the next year or two, they may be required to take those dikes out. But putting them in right now certainly doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't preclude the solutions, other solutions to the decommissioning. And as I mentioned to you, it also improves the effect on the environment of the tailings in that no more acid is being generated on the tailings that are covered with water. Now, I sincerely hope that you're clear on this point, because this is something that a lot of people are very, very unclear about, that we are allowing them to proceed with activities that we don't have any confidence in. The activities that they are proceeding with right now to cover the tailings with water do not harm the environment, do not preclude any other options being used in the future. They are spending their money in the hope that they can demonstrate to everybody that this is a viable option and that they will not have to undo it. And it's their choice.